Hi there, if you're new to the stock investing world, don't be intimidated by all of the flashy numbers because I'm going to show you everything you need to know as a beginner to start investing and trading with the Moomoo desktop platform. And at the end of this video, you will definitely walk away saying, huh? So easy one ah. Yep. Anyways, this tutorial is recorded on a Mac OS computer, so there will be a tiny bit of difference compared to the Windows version one, but it should be 99% the same thing. And just a quick disclosure here, this video is created to provide you better user experience towards the Moomoo trading platform. And if you choose to use my affiliate link down below, I will receive a tiny kickback from Moomoo. But don't worry, Moomoo has no direct input in this video, so rest assured, whatever I'm sharing with you here is based on my personal feedback and experience. So without further ado, let's start by understanding the basics of the platform and your account. At the top here, you have a small little drop down icon that you can toggle between white or dark mode. Personally, I would just keep this at dark mode because the US market usually opens at night for me here in Malaysia. So it's definitely not as harsh on my eye as the white mode. So over here are your account information in one glance. Net assets, this is the total value of your account minus margin debt. Margin is usually meant for traders who knows how to utilize it, and I do not recommend it for beginners because it comes with interest rate and several other nuances that can hurt you financially if you don't know what you're doing. I won't go into the details of it, but for now, just ignore it. You will do just fine without margin at all. And market value, this is the total value of stocks and ETFs that you own in your account. And this number here represents the current value of all of them combined based on the current market price. And of course, right now it is all displaying in US dollar terms. And cash, this is the amount of readily available cash for you to trade in US dollar worth. And that includes all the value from other currencies such as Sing dollar, Hong Kong dollar, Chinese yuan, and Japanese yuan, depending on whichever currency you funded your account with. I will explain more about them in just a minute. Buying power, notice that it is higher than my cash position. That is because your buying power is actually a combination of cash plus available margin, which is essentially additional debt that you can take to buy higher value stocks. And for all intended purposes, if you want to know how much you can buy based on how much you have, just refer to the cash amount. You invest what you have so that you don't lose more than what you have. Pretty simple, right? Available funds, this is similar to buying power, but available funds could be lesser sometimes after you have sold a stock because it takes T+2 settlement days for a stock to settle. For example, if you sold one share of Tesla at $150 today, that $150 will only be reflected on your available funds 2 days after you sold it because it takes time for the stocks to settle. And risk status, leverage ratio, excess liquidity, you can basically ignore them if you don't have any margin. Again, not important for investors. Leverage ratio is how much margin you can get in correspondence to your buying power. And multi-currency assets, pretty self-explanatory. This shows you how much cash you have in your account in all the currencies. And in this case, I funded my account in Sing dollar and I converted all of them into US dollar to buy US stocks. Now, below the box, we have a few more important buttons. Deposit and withdraw. I'm not going to show it in this video because I've dedicated funding tutorial that I've made before. So feel free to check out that video. Currency exchange, also covered in the same video before, but very quickly. If you want to buy US stocks like Apple and Tesla, then you need US dollar cash. Or if you want to buy stocks on the Singapore exchange, then you need Sing dollar cash. Same goes to Hong Kong dollar for Hong Kong exchange. Very simple, right? So I repeat, regardless of whichever currency you fund your account with, you need the same currency to trade in the corresponding stock exchange. But if for some reason you don't have US dollar cash or you forgot to convert it, you still can buy US stocks, but Moomoo will automatically buy it for you using margin. So take note of that. Statements, this is where you can download your daily or monthly brokerage account statement, which can be useful if your local tax authority requests for it. And alternatively, you can also set email subscription and they will send you monthly statements on the first week of every month, and daily statements if you have made any changes to your account, for example after you deposit and withdraw money or traded some stocks. And below that is essentially your stock portfolio if you click the Securities button, where whatever stocks or ETFs you bought will all be shown here. And you can see I currently have Tesla and a few other stocks like Wells Fargo and NEO. Those are actually free stocks from the sign up rewards. I've only bought Tesla on this account before. The Futures button basically means your futures trading contracts, which again is mainly for more advanced derivatives trading, so not relevant for long-term investors like you and me. So let's skip that one for now. But anyway, symbol means the ticker symbol for the stock or ETF. For example, Tesla Incorporation has a ticker symbol of TSLA, and Microsoft has a ticker symbol of MSFT, and Apple has a ticker symbol of AAPL, so on and so forth. Pretty simple, right? You can use these ticker symbols to search for them next time at the top right hand corner, or just type the name of the company and Moomoo will automatically recommend you over here. And you will also be able to see the stock exchange they are currently being traded at, since they are all publicly traded companies or ETFs, right? QTY at price, this stands for quantity and market price. Quantity means the amount of shares I have in this company. For example, I have 6 shares of Tesla stock in my Moomoo account, and each of them are worth about $172 as of the recording of this video, and that amount times the quantity of shares I have will equate to market value. So if I choose to sell all of my Tesla stock today at this moment, then this market value is what I will get back in total. Diluted cost means the average cost price of each stock when I bought the stock, and in this case I bought 6 of my Tesla stock back when it was trading at $107 per share each, and if you times that by 6, then it would be $642 when I bought them, right? So use that market value minus $642 and you will get the difference in change and in terms of percentage as well. And this is how much I have in paper profit in percentage. So now it is up over 60% as of the recording of this video. And don't worry if you can't follow, I will explain it again later in the buy and sell section. Okay, moving on, we also have today's P&L. This basically means how much is your paper gains or losses plus your realized gains or losses. Not important, but if you are curious how much your stock has gone up today, then this is a number for you to check. Today's sales at QTY, same as what I've mentioned before, basically just additional parameters for traders to track their intraday performance. Margin rate, this button shows you how much margin you can take for this stock. Again, we are not gonna touch on margin, so let's skip on this one. Currency US dollar, market US, pretty self-explanatory, right? And over here there is a small button that you can click into it and it will have a small pop-up box showing stock position overview. So if you need an overview glance of how your portfolio did, whether you are in the greens, which is profit, or whether you are in the reds, i.e. losing money, then this is the snapshot you are looking for. MV basically stands for market value, whereas P/L stands for profit and loss. And down below there are the funds, i.e. your mutual funds, cash funds, money market funds, etc. So it will be parked here instead of lumping up together with your stocks. But because ETFs are still traded as a stock issued by publicly listed funds, so it will still be lumped together under the stock section. But it could still be useful for those of you that want to park some money or cash in some of their money market funds, so this is where you can see them. And before I move on any further, one of the most important basics you need to understand is a stock code, which is basically what you can see over here on the sidebar, and that shows you all the information pertaining to a particular stock or ETF, all the complicated numbers and flashy greens and reds. Yes, that is the one. But don't worry, it is actually much more simpler than you would think. So let me break it down, the important ones for you. As we mentioned earlier, Tesla is the stock ticker for the company, and in this case it's Tesla, Elon Musk EV company from US, in case you don't know already. And the big number here shows you its current share price. So if you are looking at this during US market trading hours, which is basically Monday to Friday, 9:30 AM to 4 PM Eastern time or US time, then it will definitely be moving every single second. And if it's green, then it means it is currently up from the share price that it started when the market opened, and vice versa. If it's red, then it means it is currently down from the share price that it started when the market opened. Pretty simple, right? But if you're looking at this during pre-market hours, which is basically 5.5 hours before the stock market opens, or if you're looking at these during after hours, i.e. 4 hours after the stock market closed, then this number will still move but at a much slower rate, because Moomoo allows us to trade during pre-market and after hours, which is actually not a feature that many stockbroker offers, so it's pretty neat and helpful. But keep in mind, the trading volume in these off-active hours are usually very low, so you might not necessarily get the best deal because its trading spread is significantly higher. And what do I mean by that, right? Well, spread is essentially the difference between the bid and ask price. For example, let's say today I have a Tesla stock and I want to sell it. I, as the seller, would definitely want to sell it at the highest price, right? So I will be asking for a high price, aka the ask price, and vice versa. You as a buyer, if you want to buy my Tesla stock, you will definitely want to bid for the lowest price, because why on earth would you want to pay more, right? So in this scenario, you are the bidder, so you are putting in a lower price, aka the bid price. So the difference between the higher ask price and a lower bid price is essentially what makes the spread in the stock market. But what's more important here is, if let's say there's any bad news on Tesla, for example, there will be less number of buyers compared to sellers, right? And that is when you have lesser bidders, which means demand reduces while supply remains the same, and hence the share price will fall, and vice versa. If it's good news, there will be more buyers, hence more bidders, which means higher demand, and the share price will increase. Pretty simple logic, right? And that is basically the share price and stock exchange 101 that you have just learned. So moving on, the small number beside it shows you the difference of share price from the moment it started trading today. So obviously green means it's up for the day at this moment in time, and red means the opposite. And beneath it you will see high and low. High essentially means what's the highest share price for the day, while low means what's the lowest share price that it trades for the day. Open stands for the share price that it started from the opening hours, while the previous close stands for previous closing price, which means the share price that it ended for the previous trading day. Volume, not really important. This usually tells you the liquidity or trading volume, and most of the time only traders would care about this. So for all intended purposes, all you need to know is the big number right over here. If you want to buy one share of Tesla right now, then you need to pay this amount in US dollar. That is all. Quite simple, right? And you can of course click the drop down menu and expand this tab to get a bird's eye view of the stock's financials and more information like turnover here, which refers to the frequency of the stock being traded in the day, usually just to tell you the liquidity. Not very useful here if you ask me. Better to refer to the chart instead. Amplitude, this shows you the spread between the current trading day's high and low of the share price in relative to its previous day's closing price. Average price, this is the average share price so far in the current trading day. They also have PE TTM, which stands for price to earnings ratio trailing 12 months, and PE static, which is the lagging version of it. I'm not going to go through them one by one since I've done a detailed financial ratios videos before, so feel free to check that out. Bid/ask percent is the spread of bid and ask price, but shown in percentage. Market cap, this stands for market capitalization of the company in the stock market. And when you hear someone saying this or that company is this big or that big of a size, then usually they are referring to its market cap. And P/B stands for price to book ratio, which is another financial ratio to value a company as well. And the remaining metrics are nice to know, but not exactly important at this point in time, so let's skip that for now. And this section shows more margin info, and marginable means you can take a margin loan to buy Tesla stock. We're not gonna touch that for now. Shortable means you can short sell this stock, and for those of you that are not familiar with this, basically there are two ways that you can make money from trading and investing. One is short and another one is long. When we say invest in a stock and buy and hold for a long time, that means you are longing a stock in the hope that it rises in share price so that you can sell high later, right? And that is long. Whereas for short selling, you are basically borrowing stocks from someone else in hope that the share price of a stock goes down so that you can buy them back at a lower price later. So when you sell them at a lower price, you basically make the difference, which is your profit. So very simple, short selling or shorting a stock means you hope the stock price goes down. Usually traders do that more often because as investors, we usually either just long or take profits. We don't usually short because we are not here to predict the short-term price movements, and we are just buying and holding stocks for the long term. And this entire section is basically your level 2 trading data for the stock. Usually level 1 trading data only shows you the best bid and best ask price at that particular moment, like the one on Interactive Brokers. But here you actually get to see how many stocks people are actually buying at what price. Like on the left, you can see the green ones are the buyers bidding for set amount of stock at certain price. Meanwhile, on the right is basically the opposite. Sellers asking for certain price to sell their Tesla stock. For active traders, this is actually a pretty handy tool because you are able to monitor the buy and sell volume and chart out a certain trend from there. But again, for investors like me and you, this is just a nice to know information. And before I move on from here, you will notice that this section can also be further divided into capital, analysis, summary, financials, and change. But for investors, we can just focus on the two tabs here, analysis and financials. The analysis tab will show you the short sale analysis data, which basically tells you how much people are betting against the stock. So obviously, the higher the short volume, as you can see here, it means there are more selling pressure towards the stock, because Tesla has been up almost 60% in this month alone in January. So naturally, short sellers are more eager to bring it down in order to make a profit. And down there, you also have company valuation tab where they display the PE ratio, PB ratio, and PS price to sales ratio. And further down, we have the analyst rating, which you can get a sense of what the Wall Street analysts are feeling with this stock. And in my opinion, this is good to know, because at the end of the day, it is just analyst opinion and shouldn't be used solely for your investment decision. Target price, again, these are institutions' target price, which means what they think of the future share price of Tesla will be like. So take it with a grain of salt. Interpretation of indicators, these are some of the indicators that could be based on investor sentiment or technical indicators. So if you are totally new to the market, then this could supply you some quick summary of what the different indicators are saying about this stock. Like in this case, since short selling volume is so high right now, the warning signal is on the red color side, which means the trend is bearish and the probability of the stock price falling will be relatively higher. And the next step is the financial step, which is basically all your financial ratios like earnings per share, free cash flow, etc. that you can toggle between annual and quarterly. So this, in my opinion, is a super useful feature to get a quick glance of the numbers without scouring through the quarterly earnings report. And financial estimates, also more financial projections, which can help you to get a sense of what the analysts are forecasting, which are usually based off the company's forward-looking guidance and business projections, etc. Financial statement, pretty self-explanatory. You have all three of them: income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow statement, all under one roof. And you can also toggle between annual and quarterly. Really nice if you ask me. And if you scroll down there, you can see US stock trading, which is actually a quick shortcut to trade the stock. But in my opinion, there is a better way to do it by going to the trade tab on the left hand side panel. And at this tab, you have a bird's eye view of all the stocks you currently hold in your portfolio over on the right hand side. While on the left hand side, that is basically the stocks that you currently have in your watch list. And if you're wondering how to add a stock into a watch list, just search for the stock ticker symbol or the company name at the top right hand corner. Click into it and you will see this add to watch list button. Just click it and there you go. The stock is now in your watch list. Pretty simple, right? And this watch list is actually synced across your devices if you have Moomoo installed on your mobile phone or your iPad. Then whatever changes you make here or over there will automatically sync up. It's pretty nice if you ask me. And pro tip here, you can actually right click any stocks in your watch list to do a bunch of things here. But the most useful thing here is to actually set an alert. So for example, if I want to set up a reminder for this Google stock when its share price rises above $110, add a note for whatever that you want to remind yourself, then click done, and bam, that is all you need to set an alert. And just for your info here, all the stock prices on this platform is actually live share price, so feel free to use my affiliate link down below to get this perk for free. Anyways, back to the trade tab. Let me show you how to buy a stock. You don't necessarily have to be at this tab because there are many ways that you can do that. One quick way is to just right click any stock in your watch list and click the trade button to pop up this trading box. Or you can actually use keyboard shortcut of Ctrl+T if you're on Windows or Command+T if you're on the Mac OS to pop up this box. Or you can also search for the ticker symbol at the top right hand corner or the company name and just go and click the trade button. It's all the same. Anyways, let's focus at this trading box. As I've mentioned earlier, your US dollar cash over here is essentially the amount of money you have right now to buy US stocks. So if Apple right now is trading around 143 US dollars, that means I can technically buy 10 shares of Apple at max, which is shown here, buyable on cash of 10. So for this case, let's assume I want to invest in one Apple stock. Type this refers to order type, and you have 8 different ones ranging from limit, market, stop limit, stock market, etc, etc. But for investors, just look at the first two, LMT, which stands for limit, and MKT, which stands for market. Limit means you want to buy a stock at a particular price. For example, if you want to buy Apple stock at 142 US dollars, then you set it at 142 US dollars for the limit price. Whereas for market order, you are basically telling the platform to buy for you one Apple stock right now at its current market price. It could be 142.5 142.1, 142.5, 142.6, whichever, it will get you the stock right here, right now. So if your goal is to just buy the stock and don't care about the price you enter in, feel free to choose market order. But for me, I like to control my entry price, so I almost always choose limit order price. I will set $142 for now, since Apple is trading at about $143. I want to try my luck to get it slightly below the current market price. QTY or quantity, basically 1 means buying 1 share. You can obviously input more if you want, and over here there is a small box for additional options. Click into it and you will see 3 different options here. Time in force, you have 2 options of day and good till cancel. Day means you want this particular buy order to be open only until the end of today's trading day. So if your buy order didn't match because say no one is selling you Apple stock at $142, then this order will expire at the end of today, and tomorrow you need to set up the buy order again. However, if you don't like to do that again and again and again, then this is where good till cancel comes in handy, because you can basically just set this order once and check back later when your order goes through. It could be today or tomorrow or the week after, no problem. But again, personal preference, I prefer day just because you never know what will happen, especially in such a fast moving market, right? Fill outside RTH or regular trading hour. This is basically asking if you want this order to be filled during pre-market or after hour as well. Sometimes people don't like it because those hours are low in liquidity, so sometimes you could be paying a premium to buy it or selling it at a slight loss due to the difference in trading spread, which I have mentioned to you earlier in this video. But for all intended purposes, I will usually just leave it at yes, because the difference is actually very negligible relative to my long-term investment horizon. Attach order, you can attach a profit taker, stop loss or bracket. This is usually something that mostly traders will do as part of their risk management strategy. The idea is they set this so that they take profit when the stock price goes up too much, or they cut loss when the share price suddenly falls too quickly. But for investors, we don't really want to set these attachments because it can really mess up your P&L very quickly. So I will just set it to none. So once everything is set up, just click the buy button and it will ask you to review it. So here you can see you are actually setting a limit buy order for 1 Apple stock, 1 share of it at a price of $142 per share. Time in force of day, and fill this outside of RTH as well. Make sure everything is accurate, then click confirm, and that's it. You basically have just set a buy order for your first stock. You will see the trading status is still pending because you are now basically asking if anyone wants to sell you their Apple stock at $142, but now the Apple's market price is still $143, so sometimes you may need a little bit of patience for it to trade up and down and maybe and hopefully fall to the $142 price that you want. But if you don't have the patience or the time and you just want to get it done quickly and get over it, then you know what to do already. Use the market order instead. Okay, now that you have learned how to buy a stock, let me now show you how to sell a stock. It's basically the exact same steps but with the sell button instead. You can go to your accounts tab to see whatever stock you have over here. So for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to sell away my NEO stock since it has already gone up by more than 9%. So let me show you how to take profit or sell away your stock. First, click the trade button beside the stock and this trading box will pop up again. Order type, I will set this to market because I don't really care as much about this stock. So I just want to get rid of it quickly, but of course feel free to use limit order if you want to sell your stock at a particular price point. Symbol NIO for NEO, and price will not be available since I'm selling it at market price. Quantity only 1 here. Okay, so once everything is done, I will click the red sell button and this warning message will pop up. Don't worry, it is just a standard message for regulatory compliance for market orders, so just click confirm. And same thing here, it will ask you to review your order. Make sure everything is keyed in correctly, then click confirm again. And that's it. As you can see here, my sell order for this 1 NEO stock is already filled. It's that fast, and its trading status will be turned to filled, which means the order is already completed. And if I choose to close this trading box, then you can actually see that NEO is actually grayed out from my account, which means it is no longer in my account anymore. I believe it will disappear in 1 or 2 days after the stock settlement period has passed. And that's basically it. You have just learned how to buy and also sell a stock. The procedure is exactly the same for ETFs as well. Now, if you are still watching this video at this point, you must be wondering, why haven't I touched on the stock price charts and candlesticks over here? Well, to be honest with you, you don't really need them if your objective is to just buy and hold and invest for the long term. It's definitely a good knowledge to learn, but not necessarily important to say the least. I'll just give you a quick brief because it's almost impossible to squeeze an entire technical analysis tutorial in this video without making it crossing the hour mark. So when you double click onto any stock quote, you will end up having this chart in the middle. Some of you might see lines and some of you might see candlesticks. That doesn't matter because everyone have different settings depending on what you have tweaked and play around with it before. So very quickly, you can right click and go to main chart type and switch it over the chart type to the one that you want. Usually if you just want lines like this, just choose the closing price. But if you want to know a little bit more about candlestick chart, then obviously that will give you more information of the highs and lows of each day. And at the top bar here, you can also switch the chart period to whichever you like. Some people swear by daily chart, some look at weekly chart. There's no right or wrong. Technical analysis is a very complex knowledge in itself, so there is always a strategy revolving all of them. There is also a drawing tool over here that you can use to draw whatever lines or channel that you like on your graph. Some people like to use this to find the support and resistance level, while some like to plot a certain channel to see the trend of the price actions. Feel free to explore all of this by yourself. And at the bottom, you have a plethora of indicators that you can use to help with your technical analysis. And if you have zero idea on where to begin, then I would recommend you to start with learning from MA or moving average. They are the simplest to begin with, and you can pair it with something like the Bollinger Band, BOLL over here. And another one of my favorite is the RSI or Relative Strength Index that you can find over here, which basically tells you whether the stock is currently being overbought or being oversold. And one last thing here is this period button where you can click into it and it will show you a timeline that you can expand or contract depending on the time frame you want to look at the stock. So it's pretty nice if you just want to quickly zoom out and look at things in a big or smaller picture. Again, I'm not an expert in technical analysis because it isn't that important for an investor's context, so feel free to explore these by yourself. I'm sure you will be spoiled for choices because this Moomoo platform is literally the best tool you can have with you as an investor and maybe even trader. So now you are more or less covered for everything you need to know about buying and selling stocks on this platform. There are of course a lot more features on this platform that I can't possibly do it justice in this video alone without dragging it for too long. You have the Markets tab, which basically lets you have a bird's eye view of the stocks in your watch list, or you can also look at various other markets like US, Hong Kong, China, or options or crypto. So even if you are not trading them, it's always a good place for you to hang out and just see how the other assets are doing in the market right now. The Strategy tab is basically a place to help you sort out stocks that could be having a certain breakthrough potential, be it based on technical indicators and whatnot. And then you can also screen for stocks based on a plethora of parameters. So if you ever wonder which stock is doing well for certain parameters, or if you want to screen for a certain combination of them, then by all means, this is the playground for you. The Paper Folio tab is basically like a social trading feature where you can see how other retail traders are doing in their simulation portfolio. These aren't real money, so in my opinion, just take them with a pinch of salt. It's more of a sandbox to me because the way you trade with real or paper money is entirely different from one another. Data tab, this is where you can get a lot more information on certain companies, but unfortunately most of them are still titled in Mandarin, so I would actually recommend you to refer to the News tab instead. This tab is essentially your online newspaper but on steroid because it covers every major headlines for you to read as an investor, and it's updated almost every other minute. You can of course opt for news that are relevant to the stocks in your watch list, like here in my case there are news for Apple, Google, Amazon, etc. So you will never miss out any movements or updates from the companies that you are following with. And the last little tab here is the Calendar tab, which you can essentially look up for certain economic data release or earnings data, etc. Very handy, especially if you are new to the US stock market, and it can get very messy very quickly when you are constantly bombarded with tons and tons of data. So using this, you can actually sort out for high priority or 3-star data, so you only need to read the most important numbers without wasting too much of your time. And the Moo tab is essentially a combination of Facebook and Twitter. It's another social feature that I personally don't use that much, but of course feel free to explore it yourself. The last tab here is the Paper tab, which is basically a paper trading account that you can open and trade with simulation money, i.e. fake money. So you can use this to backtest your trading strategy if you ever want to go that trading route. So one last thing that I need to mention before closing out this video is reaching out to their customer support whenever you have any questions or face any issues that needs to be resolved. Moomoo has a super responsive customer service that is available 24 hours a day during every trading days. You can find them by going to the top left hand corner and click this headset button that says online inquiry, and then it will pop up your browser to connect you with their FAQ section. But if you want to speak to a real person, then just type agent and they will quickly assign someone to you within a few seconds. Feel free to try it out yourself and let me know how that went for you. I'm sure you will like it. So that is all, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you found this tutorial helpful, and if you did, I would totally appreciate it if you can help me smash the like button down below for me and comment down below if you have any questions. I'm more than happy to know what are your thoughts on this tutorial. If you want to learn more about funding and currency conversion on Moomoo's platform, then I highly recommend you to check out this video. And with that, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.